If you do this combined with the principle of turning up the volume as described in this episode, it is completely unreasonable that you wouldn't succeed. And that's the game. Set things in place that make your success simply the most reasonable outcome, and let failure be either impossible or highly improbable. Hey you, I'm Mark, husband of one, father of three, maker of puns, climber of trees, grower of businesses, pitcher of tents, occasional cutter of cheese, word nerd, and lover of families. Oh no. Oh no, not yet. No. Oh, here he comes. Where's my oar? Showed that Kraken who's boss. At least until like 2 p.m. this afternoon. I think I'll be due for another attack by then. Let's jump into it. Hey, welcome to all of you, bandits and chilies. This episode is called Turn the Volume Up, Inputs, Outputs, Impossible to Fail. A man was walking past a shop window when he saw a sign attached to a 50-inch TV. It said, "Special price, $5, volume stuck on full." The man said to himself, "I can't turn that down." Okay, so back to the topic at hand. Turn the volume up, inputs, outputs, impossible to fail. The concept here is that if you do enough of the inputs, the outputs, the results that you're aiming at, just have to naturally follow. For example, if someone wanted to learn Spanish, they could dabble with it for years, struggle, and never really become fluent. But if they really committed to it and turned all of the inputs up, they committed to watching, reading, and listening to only Spanish material. They dedicated 30 minutes each morning and night to specific study time for Spanish, and they moved to a remote town in Spain or South America where very few people spoke English. It would be unreasonable to assume that they wouldn't see massive leaps in their language journey. If that person was going to take 10 years to become fluent before, you would probably expect that they would be fluent within a year now. Why? Because the volume of the inputs was increased and compounded so much that they would get more than the 10 years worth of exposure within a year. They have put themselves in a position where they have to use what they are learning. Likewise, if you want to take your business from $20,000 a month to $100,000 a month, then you can quantify what that looks like and determine a specific gap. Let's run with an example of a business with a $500 average ticket. They have an $80,000 gap per month, which translates to 160 customers. So, each week then, they need to sell an additional 40 jobs on top of what they are servicing currently. Now that may be its own problem, but for this, we're going to ignore your capacity completely and just focus on getting the jobs. 40 jobs per week. What would make it unreasonable to not hit that target? Well, having some baselines is going to be really important, and for that, I'd suggest listening to the episode Put $1 in, Get $15 Out, Leave a Building. You wouldn't want to rush into this without some proof of concept in terms of your messaging and your offer. But let's just say that you had found that with distributing flyers, for every 1,000 flyers, you booked one job. Great. Now, how many can you distribute? 40,000 flyers per week could get you the entirety of the 40 jobs, but you would need to be in a very large city because you need to have a heap of serviceable area and population density for that to work. Because how many weeks is it before you're repeating the areas by necessity? Repeating isn't bad, but that lever will fatigue more quickly if you need to repeat too frequently. Let's say that you determine that 10,000 flyers per week could work in your area. You devise a plan of which areas will be hit, in what order, and with what frequency. Okay, great. The first 10 jobs per week are covered. Next, you determine that you can increase your Google ad spend, and perhaps the most that you can get based on the search volume in your area for your services is another 10 jobs per week. Awesome, halfway there. Next, you decide to layer in targeted Facebook ads which hit the same areas that your flyers are hitting each week, and you work out how you can book another 10 jobs per week with that spend. Lastly, you have your techs door knock the nearest 5 to 10 houses before or after each job serviced, and over the course of a week, you get an additional 10 jobs from this method. Then, you want to add to this. Remember, we want to turn the volume up. We want to weight the inputs such that the outputs can do nothing but comply. So, you or a member of your team joins BNI, and once into the swing of things, you get an additional 5 jobs per week from there. Then, you arrange some strategic referral partnerships with other non-competing synergistic businesses and gain an additional 5 jobs per week from this method. You run a nomination competition in various Facebook community groups for a free service to be given to someone, either as a general giveaway or for someone who specifically needs this service but perhaps cannot afford it. The conversation started, leads generated, and posts shared from this land you an additional 10 jobs each week that you offer the free giveaway. These are some very low-resolution descriptions. Naturally, there's a lot of nuance to be had for each of these methods. But basically, the point is to take what would reasonably get you to hit your target and then turn the volume up. You're not going to hit a bullseye with a weekly target like that. You're either going to miss by hitting below the target or miss by hitting above it. So if your target matters to you in any meaningful way, you need to miss by hitting above, exceeding your target. So plan accordingly. Time for a Grant Cardone quote. Never lower your target, increase your actions. As you do this, you'll get better at it. Warplan AI's software is built specifically with this in mind and is designed to track this for you so that you can continually improve the accuracy of your predicted results. Book a free call with me, link in the description, to learn more. A complementing way to further increase this would be to focus on everything that happens to your customers once you have acquired them. All of those new customer acquisitions, that's the front end. But it's the back end where the real money is made. Map out your customer journey from before they even inquire, what they're seeing and hearing about your business, all the way through to what your follow-up is going to look like 3 years after you complete their job. Once you have that map, you can start to place markers, events, points of contact along the pathway which serve to increase the frequency of their bookings, how many referrals you get, how you can book in more per service to increase your average ticket, logical justifications that allow you to increase your pricing, efficiencies within your processes that allow you to increase your production rate, and things generally that you can cut from your business which reduce your expenses. This is called Frappe. Are you ready to grab your business by the horns, take charge and grow? Join the 6-week Frappe framework, link in the description, starting April 9th, 2025. Or, if you're in the future, hi, do the robots let us have weekends off? Check out the dates of the next Frappe framework via the link in the description. 6 weeks to double your business in 6 moves. Check out the explainer video at warplan.au/Frappe, link in the description. So just to recap, zoom out and fly over this topic. If you optimize your inputs to meet your goal, and then add to it, turn the volume up, do more, do it faster, then you optimize to exceed your goals. After that, you can then compound the effect by focusing on what else you can do to get more value from each new customer that you bring in, increasing their lifetime value. That is crucial because the first time you get a customer, it costs you either time or money, unless they're a purely organic lead. But even then, you've had to put time and money into your position in the market to acquire them. So it costs you time and money to get new customers. It also costs you time and money to keep them and to have them rebook, but it costs much less. They are warm to your company now. They have already had a great experience with you and shown themselves willing to pay for your services. It's much easier to get someone to rebuy. Just to quickly touch on the lever building concept again, refer to the $1 in, $15 out episode, but briefly, one concept mentioned in that episode was that of experimental marketing. That's marketing that you don't have data for. For example, you're running Facebook ads for the first time. Should you turn the volume up on that? Well, I was coached for a couple of years by Nick DeMark, and he should have a t-shirt that says test and measure, because that was his catchphrase to answer most questions, and it's a pretty good answer. Experimental marketing, by definition, is the testing before the measuring. But you need to test enough so that your measurements will be meaningful. Spending $25 on Facebook ads is not really going to give you usable data. If you get a job, there's no guarantee that another $25 will give you another job. If you don't get a job, that certainly doesn't mean that there are no jobs to be gained in this method. On the flip side, you don't want to dump $100,000 into experimenting with your first Facebook ad campaign. A good rule of thumb is to start with 10 to 20 times what you expect your customer acquisition cost to be, and to be prepared to iterate on this experiment consistently over a period of at least 3, ideally 6 months, repeating weekly or fortnightly, depending on what it is that you're doing. Whatever you settle on, make a plan. You can toss that napkin that I just scribbled on over your shoulder and ignore it entirely, but set up a plan that makes sense to you and follow it with a process designed for iterative improvement. If you do this combined with the principle of turning up the volume as described in this episode, it is completely unreasonable that you wouldn't succeed. And that's the game. Set things in place that make your success simply the most reasonable outcome, and let failure be either impossible or highly improbable. That's it. Have an awesome day. Make someone else's day awesome. Learn all about the Frappe framework at warplan.au/Frappe. Link in the description. Catch ya. Bye. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Are you sniffing what I'm stepping in? If you're looking for a really valuable community centered around building your business, being really intentional with your spouse and kids, and if you think you can tolerate my terrible dad jokes, then join Family-Oriented Business Growers. It's awesome. There's self-paced challenges designed to help you solve key pain points within your business in short, intentional sprints. There's awesome people in there doing awesome things who have experience with stuff that can help you, having stood where you stand. You'll benefit from what's in there, we'll benefit from having you in there, you legend you, and best of all, it's totally free and also free of toxic shenanigans because we don't tolerate none of that. The mission of the group is to help 250 family-oriented home service business owners reclaim 5 hours per week for what matters most whilst growing their business this year. So jump in there and get amongst it. Join via warplan.au, that's warplan.au. Oh no. He's early. Warplan.au. Catch you in there. Ah!